All right, we're going to work out day 47 array practice. So I'm going to do the work right here. So part one, create an integer array named AA that has 5 elements. And I even tell you how to do it. Int, open and close square brackets, space AA equals new int, open and close square brackets, but put a 5 over here. Because that tells it, hey, we're going to make an integer array with 5 things. And I want you to write a for loop to print it on one line with a space between each element. For int I equals 0, I less than AA dot length. And this length has no parentheses after it because it's a property, not a method. Print AA square bracket I. That's how we get each element. And then I ask you to print a blank line. System.out.println. And let's see what happens. We should get 5 little zeros. Oh, I forgot to put a space between them. Plus, there we go. It's just easier to read when you have spaces between the numbers. There you go. All right, so that's number 1. Boom. Number 2, create an integer array named BB using an array initializer and any 5 numbers you want. So int square brackets BB equals, now instead of that, we're going to do the curly brackets and we're going to put in 5 integers. 3, 1, 4, 1, 5. There's 5 integers there. I was just doing the first 5 digits of pi without a decimal point. Anyway, write a for loop to print it all on one line with spaces in between. So I'm going to grab this whole thing. I'm going to paste it right here. We have to change this to BB and change that to BB. And get part 1, 5 zeros, and then 5 numbers. And by the way, there's a printout here. This should only have had 5 numbers. But there you go. Now it only has 5 numbers. The next line is going to print 4 nulls. So let's see what happens there. Create a string array named CC with 4 elements. String CC equals new string square bracket 4. And then I'm asking you to print it so we can I just still had it on the clipboard for loop, and I changed the AAs to CCs. And check it out, we're going to get 4 nulls. That's because when you do this line 21, when you create a new array of strings, the default value in each element, in each spot, at each index is null. And null means there's nothing there yet. It's like a placeholder. All right, number 4, create a string array named DD with 3 or more of your favorite animals using an array initializer. String DD, string square brackets DD equals, and then array initializer is one of these. And I'm going to say dog, chicken, and boy, after dogs and chickens, it's hard to say what my next favorite animal is. Capybara. I spelled it wrong now. Cute little thing. 1p. And then we need a semicolon at the end. And please print it all on one line. I still have it on my clipboard, except this is DD and DD. Dog, chicken, capybara. On the next line, print the array again with each element in uppercase. So I'm going to just copy this one over again. And now right here, we can say to uppercase. And see how that'll just print the whole thing again, but with everything uppercase. Just wanted you to practice accessing elements. And then we print a blank line. Create a scanner. Oh, forgot that I was in the comment here. Scanner, scan equals new scanner. System.in. It may have been a while since you've created a scanner. I know I haven't done it for a while. Ask the user to enter an integer between 20 and 30 inclusive loop until the user does this. I recommend a while loop. All right, so I would make a variable int entry equals 0, and then say while entry greater than, let's see, while entry less than 20 or entry greater than. That'll do it. And we say entry equals scan next int. And I think maybe just for politeness sake, please enter an integer between 20 and 30 inclusive. That way it's telling us what to do. All right, so if I enter 4, if I enter 44, and if I enter 22, then it leaves. All right, we got that. Once out of the loop, create an integer array named EE with the number of elements that the user just entered. So int array EE equals new int, and we're using the value of entry. So we're creating an array, and that says the program. So we don't know how big this array is because the user is going to enter it during runtime. Use a for loop to set each element to a random integer from 0 to 9 inclusive. So I've got a for loop here. I'm going to say EE, and now instead of printing, we are going to say EE square bracket I equals int math.random times 10. That'll do it. Print the array on one line with spaces. Now the truth is, we can actually just print it now. We could do a whole nother for loop, but we might as well just print it. EE square bracket I. So I didn't have to delete that line. I just had to initialize the variable, this line, before we tried to print it. All right, let's run it. And I'm going to enter 22 again because I can do it with one hand. Any day, Mr. Repple. Run it again and we'll see that all the numbers are different. They're from 0 to 9. Okay. Sweet. Create the last problem. Create an array of 3 frog objects. Frog array. I'm going to say family, like it's a family of frogs, equals new frog. So that creates 3 frog array. And then I ask you to print the first frog. Family square bracket 0. Remember the first one is at index 0. So we should get null because we created the array. That basically makes placeholders, but it doesn't put any frogs in those spots. So null is not a real frog. You couldn't hop a null frog. Watch this. If I do family square bracket 0 dot hop, it's probably going to crash. Exception in thread main, null pointer exception. So that means we tried to use we tried to do something with a null with a null variable that you're not allowed to do. So print the first frog immediately and you get null. All right, then using a for loop, create a frog object in each element of the array, make it hop a random number of times and print it. So we're going to do that all. Let's see, this one is called family. Family. So what we're going to do is say family square bracket I equals new frog. So that creates a frog and stores it in each element of the array. And then I want it to hop a random number of times from 0 to 20. So here we go. Family I sub I dot hop. And in here, we're going to say int math.random times 21. Just put spaces around it so you could see what was going on. And then we're going to print it. And this one, we're not printing all on the same line because that would be hard to understand. So we're going to just print len. So we should get 3 randomly printing frogs down there. And there we go. So I'm expecting, you see in my sample output, I entered a number 5, and I entered a number 40, which were both out of range, and then I entered a 25. So I expect you to test your code before you turn it in. I'm going to test your code. So make sure that that works before you think that you are done. All right. Have a great day.